Well, I get to introduce you to a friend who I've known for 3 days. 3 days, Marian. But we're so grateful. You've been a friend of Ryan and Wendy Howell for years, and they've made numerous trips to Romania. He came all the way from Romania to be with us. That's right. So we're so thankful that you're here. And like I said, I've gotten to know him. One of the first things that we got to do was go fishing.
Yep.
Imagine me taking somebody fishing. We actually have a picture or two of you and your fly fishing experience with me.
Oh, come on.
There they are. Those are the very first trout he's caught on a fly rod ever. So you did amazing.
You were amazing. You were my teacher.
I just
so
give him a
great.
little coaching for 30 minutes, and like fish to water. I know that's a dad joke, but it is like you just took to it. So we had a really great time, and then but he's been involved with Value Plus as well as a church in Romania for years and years, and he's going to tell us a little bit more about that. But we've had an opportunity in the evenings to engage in long conversation with Marian and hear about his vision and his heart and his understanding of what life is like from a Romanian perspective. And I'm not sure all what he's going to share, so I'm not going to talk about his story, but it's an amazing story of transformation for their country, amazing story of transformation in Marian's life with his family, and it's just a fabulous story about transforming lives and what loving your neighbor really looks like. And I think this is one of the things that has stuck out to me, Marian, is you have not just a Romanian perspective, but you have a global perspective of the role Romania plays and the relationship between our country and that country that's helping to shape my perspective and change my perspective of the world. So you all are in for a treat. Let's give Marian a Crossroads welcome. Marian, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. He said so many nice words about me. God help me, I liked it. Where's the rain today? Crossroads, Colorado, where's the rain? It's been a beautiful morning. Sunshine up there, man, that's gorgeous. I envy you. So I want to say happy Father's Day to every father in the room and those who are watching online. And also, just say a few things about me. My name is Marian Paduret. I come from Romania, obviously, from the city of Bacău, northeast of Romania. I'm married with my beautiful wife, Esther, and we have 4 kids, 1 boy and 3 girls. The boy is 25, the girls are 18, 15, and 8. The boy is the oldest one, so he's out of the house. So I got stuck with 3 girls. Check that out. So, yeah, I know what it means, Happy Father's Day. So, I am also a pastor of Trinity Church in Bacău, and since 2012, together with Pastor Ryan and a couple of more people, we start a nonprofit organization that is called Value Plus, with the desire to really engage community and help those that are at risk and those that are vulnerable, and promote education and focus on young people so that we can provide help and coaching and help them in a practical way. We have done that through a variety of projects in schools, providing after school programs for kids at risk, and help them with their homeworks, character development, and help them to pursue their education. We also have been involved, and we are still very much involved in preventing human trafficking in Romania, and not only in Romania. And also, since the war started last year in February in Ukraine, we have also been very heavily involved in providing aid, humanitarian aid, like food, personal hygiene items, and a lot of medicine for those in need in Ukraine. We have made 12 trips to Ukraine, and more than 170 tons of aid we have been able to drive over the border and help those in need. And Crossroads Church have been a part of that, so I want to say thank you. If I could, I will look just bullseye to each and every one of you, and I would say thank you. Thank you very much for your support and for your prayers. And without people like you and many others, we will not be able to do what we have done. So thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you for that. So it's a challenge for me this morning to speak in English, okay? It's like I invite Pastor Ryan in Romania and ask him to preach in Romanian language, which I will do next time, by the way. Okay? So if I will mess up some words or something like that, bear with me, okay? Just forgive me. You can tell me something in the end of the service, but just be graceful, okay? I want to share with you few thoughts on hope. And the title of the message for today is Keep Hope Alive. Keep hope alive. It is very important to have hope. Without hope, we are lost. Without hope, we're nothing. Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13 says, these three things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. We have a lot of talk in our churches about faith, and we have a lot of talk in our churches about love. We don't have enough talk in our churches about hope, and that's what I want to do this morning. And I know your theme, the church, is kind of oriented around this virtue and this value of hope, which I am really happy to see that. So we need people of hope in our society. We need people of hope in our churches. We need people of hope in our world. If we are going to make this world a better place, it's going to take a lot of people full of hope. Hope is what we need. And I like what Pastor Dennis said last night. He said, a man can live like 40 days without food, like 4 days without water, 4 minutes or less without air, but we will not resist, not even 1 second, without hope. Hope is so vital for every one of us. The word hope comes from a Greek word, and the Greek word is elpis, so elpo, which primarily means anticipation with pleasure. It means anticipation with confidence. So I'm trying to, yes, something like that. I try to follow. So I'm trying to adjust with this technical stuff, okay? Bear with me. Anticipation with pleasure or expectation with confidence. That's what hope is when we anticipate a better future. We are confident and we anticipate with pleasure what is going to happen in the future. When we raise our hopes for the future. Why hope is so vital for us? Why hope is so vital for our lives, families, churches, communities, societies, countries? Why hope is so vital? First, hope is essential for our faith. Paul says in Hebrew, or whosoever wrote Hebrew, now faith is the insurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. Faith is the insurance of things hoped for. Faith is the conviction of things not seen. Without hope, faith becomes pointless, powerless, senseless. If we take hope for things hoped for from that sentence, then faith is powerless, senseless, useless. We need hope in order to have a strong faith. That's why Paul says, now this three remains: faith, hope, and love. Hope is in the middle. Hope is the one that will help us to have faith and live in love and with love towards our neighbor. Why hope is so important? Hope is a shield to protect our health. One of the Harvard professors, very respected, of psychiatry at Medical Harvard School, Adam Stern, says like this: hope protects us against depression and suicide. Among people, hope is linked with health, quality of life, self-esteem, and sense of purpose. It is an essential factor for developing both maturity and resilience. Hope is vital for our faith. Actually, when our hope level go down, usually the depression level goes up. So it's so vital for us to have hope, so that our lives, our hearts will be filled with hope, with this confidence and expectation, with pleasure regarding the future. There is a true story in the Second World War when the Nazi Germans conquered Poland. And one of the things they built concentration camps, extermination camps, and ghettos. Those ghettos were a very isolated area in a city or outside of the city, where they will take mostly Jewish people and gypsies and some other prisoners of war, maybe Russians and some other nationalities, and they will put it together, isolate them for the rest of the world, and keep them there with a very little bit of food, controlled everything. It was like in a prison. It was like an extermination camp. And in one of those ghettos in Poland, there was a man, Jacob. And one night he has been arrested. And while he was waiting to be interrogated at the office where his persecutor is supposed to come, he heard the news on the radio that the Russian army and the allies will come closer and will have victories after victories, and they just come closer to the German, to the Nazi, and the war is going to end soon. So he grabbed this piece of news and he went back to the camp, and very secretly he starts to tell to his friends, I heard at the radio, it's going to happen soon. The alliance will come and we will be saved and everything will be over. And from a very high suicide rate, from a very high depression level in the ghetto, from a very high discouragement, disappointment, lack of willing to leave, everyone in the ghetto start to flourish. Everyone in the ghetto start to have a smile on their face because they hope and they knew that it's going soon to be over. Now, some of those people have been deported and put it in the trains and sent it to concentration camps like Dachau, Auschwitz, and they carried the news with them. It's going to be soon over. And as a result of that, it's proved historically in the extermination camp of Dachau just before Christmas has been a very high suicide rate. But after this news from Poland came, they start to have hope. They start to have hope. They put a smile on their face. They start to envision themselves that they will escape actually, and they will have a moment when they will go home and embrace their families. That's what hope is doing. Despite the fact of the realities that sometimes we experience, hard, tough times, if we have hope, if we have a little bit of hope, if we have that ray of hope, we will be able to go through. We will be able to overcome. We will be able to step over. Actually, Friedrich Nietzsche says, hope is a path. Hope, he who has a why, that's what Friedrich Nietzsche says, he who has a why in life can bear almost any how. He who has a why in life can bear any how. And that why is giving us by hope. Hope is a path of helping us to process things in our life. Hope is a path that is helping us to process things in our lives. Hope can be an opportunity for us to process events that seems unbearable. And as Friedrich Nietzsche says very well, one of the things he said is very well is that he who has a why can bear anyhow. Hope is that power, is that force that will help us to process things that are very hard in our life and find a path to go forward, go beyond for a brighter future. What hope is not? What hope is not? Just two things, very short. Hope is not a wishful thinking. Hope is not a wishful thinking. I picture, like Russian army have a wishful thinking like the Ukrainians will surrender overnight. That's a wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is like, eating 1 pound of ice cream in the evening with the hope that in the morning I will be like 3-4 pounds less. That's a wishful thinking. Hope is not a denial of reality. Hope is also not a denial of reality. It's not like, my life is a mess. Everything is crumbling. How are you doing, man? I'm doing well. It's not a dismiss of reality. It's not a denial of reality. Hope is, looking into the environment, looking around, looking at the reality, admit it, but have a bright expectation for the future. Have an anticipation with confidence that things will get better. Have a clear vision that future is going to look different in a positive way. And I pray that that will happen with every one of us. Very short, I will close with sharing about 5 enemies of hope. 5 things that will shadow hope in our lives. 5 things that will try to shadow and kill hope in our lives. So very short, I will try to explain each of them. First is fear. Fear will shadow hope in our life. If we let fear will cripple us. We can have fear of people, and we can have sometimes fear, a negative fear of God. Fear of people that they will hurt us, we will hurt them, we will be misunderstood, we will not be accepted. There's a lot of fear of people. Don't let fear cripple you. Don't let fear shadow hope in your life. And sometimes it's fear of God. There's a story in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, where Jesus is walking on the water, and the disciples got scared. They thought they see a ghost, and they freak out. And Jesus approached them, and he says, "Take courage. It is I. Don't be afraid." And sometimes I picture that many people have this vision of God, that vision that the disciples had for one moment in the boat when they saw Jesus walking on the water, that God is some kind of a ghost. God is some kind of a big guy in heaven looking and searching what horrible things you have done, ready to punish, ready to erase you. Horrible sinner. But that's not like that. That's not the image that we have of God. He's a God of love. He's a God of acceptance. He's a God that he was willing to step down from heaven and show us how much he loved us. So don't let fear of others, fear of God, a misunderstood of divinity, to cripple you and shadow the hope that God wants us all to have. Another enemy of hope is doubt. Doubt. There has been many moments in my life when I doubt. I doubt of my personal values, my personal abilities. I doubt, and that doubt creates immediately a low self-esteem. Doubt always will cripple us and will shadow hope. Doubt will be that little voice in our head that will tell you that we do not have value, we do not count. Our abilities are useless. When in fact, we have so much value. When in fact, we are unique. When in fact, you are so much valuable that nobody can put a price tag on you. Nobody can put a price tag on you. I have an uncle, he's an old man. He have a saying in Romanian, I don't know if it's making any sense in English, but I will say it anyway. So he says, after God has created you, He broke the mold. You are unique. There is no one like you in the world. Your fingerprint is unique. Everything, the way you experience reality, it's unique. Don't ever doubt of your value. Don't ever doubt of your value. Another enemy of hope is lack of connection, loneliness, lack of connection. That insulation from others, insulation from God, isolation from God. And I used to say that further away we go from God, less hope we have. Closer we get to God, more hope we have. We need connection. We need connection with each other. Anytime you have an opportunity for connection, anytime you have an opportunity to connect with people around you, with people like you, do it. Take advantage. Invest time in connecting with other people, because anytime we withdraw in loneliness and cultivate a lack of connection in our lives, level of hope will go down. Now, I'm not dismissing the fact, but we need sometimes when we want to get alone and be alone. That's fine. I mean, when I look at myself, I really love sometimes to go fishing, right? And be by myself. But we need connections with others. Fourth enemy that will shadow hope in our lives is meaningless. This lack of purpose in our life leads to insanity sometimes. And actually, the Nazi Germans, when they want to really drive crazy the prisoners in the extermination camps, they will have a group of prisoners to move a pile of dirt from one side of the court to the other side of the court. And after they finish doing that, they will put the prisoners to move that same pile of the dirt from this side of the court to the other side of the court, and back and forth and back and forth. And after 2 or 3 weeks, at least 80% of them went crazy because they saw no meaning in what they were doing. When we look to ourselves and we see meaningless, that has to be a very red flag. Because there will be all the time thoughts and people that will try to convince us that we do not matter, when in fact we matter. We matter. We have a meaning in life. We have a purpose in life. We have a direction in life. And the last one thing that I want to share with you is resignation or discouragement. Discouragement always will shadow hope in our lives. The desire to quit. I have it enough. There's nothing going to change. I invested 3, 4, 5 years in this thing. It's not going to work. Nothing changed. And I want to bring to you a true story that happened. It's about one of the missionaries from England. His name is William Carey. He was a shoemaker. He was making shoes in his workshop in England. And he had a heart for missions. He had a heart to go outside of England and share the good news and engage all other cultures and help. And so he starts to learn languages. And by the time he died, the history says that he was able to speak more than 40 languages. So he went to India. He went to India in 1793 in November. And he starts to work there. He starts to invest his life there. He starts to build a printing house. And his desire was to translate the Bible in many languages and that people in India spoke. And he got together a lot of material. He paid people, raised support to translate the Bible, and to actually, he has been involved a lot in changing legislation in India. And he worked like crazy. He worked for 19 years. And on 12 March 1812, his printing house got on fire. And there was nothing left. All the translations, all the work, all the papers, all the materials, everything has been lost. By the way, there was no cloud to save anything at that time, okay? There was nothing sent in the cloud. Everything was lost. All the work for 19 years. And he in the morning, walking through the rubber of that building and see the destruction, looked to his workers and he said, what a beautiful opportunity to start all over again. So he started all over again. He didn't quit. He didn't resign. He didn't let discouragement to take over. He said, I will pursue. I will go forward. We will press on. And he did that. And he worked for another 17 years. And his dream when he came to India was that the sati system will be abolished. Sati was a Hindu practice that when a man will die, his wife will be burned with him in the funeral. And sometimes because of polygamy, the man had like 3, 4, 5 wives, and when he would die, they would be burned with him. And his dream was that one day he will succeed and change this within the society in India. And on December 4, in 1829, he succeeded in changing the legislation. And that never happened after. And that was because of his willing to press on, persevere, hoped for, dream of, not letting it down, did not throw the tower. And that's what I encourage you today to do. Don't throw the tower. Don't quit. Don't give up. Don't be discouraged. Don't resign. Let's all hope together that we can make a difference. Either it will be in Loveland, Colorado, Boulder area, Fort Collins, even Denver, or to the outskirts of the earth, Romania, Asia, Africa, Latin America, wherever it will be, we can do it. And I will close with the words of Apostle Paul that says, I can do some. I can do few. I can do what? I cannot hear you. You know, in Romania, we don't have a good hearing. So I can do what? Through Christ. Through Christ, who give us strength. And I pray that He will give us strength there in Romania, here in Colorado, and everywhere else. May God bless you. Keep hope alive.